It's amazing that your starting quarterback was a backup at UNLV. Before that was Miller Moss, who was a third string quarterback. And right now your running back is fucking King Miller. He's a walk-on. He's a JUCO. That's a cute story, but, like, that's embarrassing that that is your running back right now. You are USC. You're not Akron. You're not UMass. You're not some teeny tiny school. Some San Diego State, that's cool. You'll never win a natty like this, and you're never gonna be shit.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Green Dog Podcast special Thanksgiving episode here. We're back with the college football savant himself, Hunter Malone. How are we feeling?
Feeling good. I got one day left of work for the week, and then I got Thanksgiving. My last day at my other job is Friday, so excited to get that over with and embark. This will be the first time I'm going to have one job, I think, in 3 or 4 years.
It's going to be a nice feeling, my friend. You will miss that second paycheck, though, as someone who's speaking from experience. But before we dive into the college football slate, what are we eating at the Malone household for Thanksgiving? What's typically on the spread?
Well, there's typically anywhere between 20 to 40 people. Well, you've been to one.
Yeah, I've been to one. A lot of people show up to the Malone household.
A lot of randoms every year. There's like...
And it's not...
I meet new people every time I go.
You're like, grandma's new boyfriend? Who are you?
Whoa. Grandma's happily married. This might be cousin's new boyfriend, but I'm in charge this year. The last 3 years, I was in charge of corn casserole, which sounds gross, but really, if you don't know what it is, it's pretty much
fire.
It's pretty much like cornbread is the best way I can describe it. But I put cheese on the top, and there's actual corn bits in it, and there's a little more to it, but it's delicious. This year, though, we're in charge of mashed potatoes, so I got to make like 10 pounds of potatoes, and that's all that I'm in charge of this year. Last year, we got in a car accident on Thanksgiving. The year before was the concussion from football. So really, they wanted me in charge of nothing important because I typically come in as damaged goods.
Well, are you is it a turkey? Turkey, right? Turkey household?
We do turkey. We typically do like a.
You do a turkey and a ham, right?
Yeah, we have a couple of turkeys. We have one that's like a regular turkey. My dad will deep fry a turkey. We have and then we have like a dark meat turkey plus a ham that Mama likes to make.
Yeah, I was on, obviously I do the deal with D&J, and I was telling
You do?
DJ, yeah, crazy. I was telling DJ that, obviously my parents have been divorced for a long time, but it's interesting because it's like you get to see what each parent would rather have for Thanksgiving. So like on dad's side, it's prime rib, any holiday. If it's Christmas or Thanksgiving, whenever he gets me or my brother, it's prime rib. We'll do mashed potatoes. I make a vegetable because that's what I'm pretty good at. Like if I can get into the kitchen. My best is Brussels sprouts. They don't like that because they're children, so I make green beans instead, and that's better. That's typically there. And then we do a dessert somewhat. We do like the mini apple pies that you get from like Trader Joe's. You know what I'm talking about? Like the little single serves. Yeah. On mom's side, it's ham, no turkey. It's ham. So
You don't get turkey at all?
No turkey on either side. Neither of them were like 1 year my dad did a turkey. He'll mix it up, but he doesn't like. He loves his prime rib. He loves cooking it.
Yeah. So prime rib for us is a Christmas day, like Christmas night, like dinner.
Yeah.
So I understand that, and like you could throw in the gravy, and it flows for sure. But like someone's got to have a turkey. Like you could do a turkey and
it also depends on how many people are coming. So if it's just me and my brother with my dad and stepmom, and he doesn't get us for another holiday, he just does the prime rib.
Okay, that's acceptable.
But if we're hosting, let's say we're hosting another family, then we're doing a turkey in lieu, and then we're doing turkey and ham in lieu of the prime rib. Just because the prime rib, my dad's like, he wants it to be an us thing. So like we'll mix it and match. But when I go up to my grandma's this year, Like we'll be doing turkey. We're doing turkey up there. Turkey up there. We're doing the fixins. Mom's green bean casserole is always on the menu with the French onion crisps and stuffing normally.
Stuffing.
So
That's what I'm excited for, man. Stuffing I get once a year, and this is it.
I know I made some today because on Thursday my coworkers are coming and like I'm hosting them because we have a football game Saturday and no one's bringing stuffing to the table and I was like, well, I need my stuffing fix somehow, so I made some today and you forget low key how good it is. Like, you know what? I had a free will thought the other day because we were talking about sides. You can have stuffing whenever you want.
I mean, like, yeah, but no.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. You could, but you
Like
don't. You
like
don't.
no one's like I'm not going in like June and it's like, hey, you know what would go good with like
Hot dogs
whatever,
and
like pork
brats. Like,
chops? And you're like, what? And you're like stuffing. Like I'd look at you saying, I'd be like, what did you just say to me?
no. I will say though, I am excited. I think I'm gonna go to the store tomorrow and grab some like accoutrements for some drinks. I think I might make like a specialty bourbon drink because I got an unopened bottle of Buffalo Trace that we're gonna break out tomorrow on Thursday. Today, yesterday, whenever you're listening, the bottle of Buffalo Trace will be cracked open. So might do like maybe a peach type of route. Maybe it's whiskey sours. Maybe it's old fashions. I got to see what everyone's bourbon is.
Yeah, all I'm hearing is if you're listening to this live, crack open that bourbon right now.
Exactly.
We'll sip it together.
Put it on ice. Add a dash of water to really let the whiskey open up, and come listen to the Green Dog podcast. Maybe smoke a cigar while you're at.
I don't even know if I have whiskey on me.
I only have the Buffalo Trace. I have the 2 bottles of wine still from Amy sitting in the fridge still. So we may crack those open. We may not. We'll see how frisky we want the night to get. But before that, I want to talk about Firefest here. I'm saying you would appreciate this. You saw the text messages I sent in the Green Dog podcast group chat, and not a Firefest, but the stadium pulse was rocking. I will say. So you're a happily dating man, 2+ years. Congrats. I'll be on 3 in January, and Kara's dad comes in town, and I go up and I get to hang out. I get a haircut, and Kara's like, "Hey, I'm at work," and I'm like, "Okay, what do you want me to do?" She's like, "Go babysit my dad," and I was like, "That's a bad decision, but I'll do it anyways." So like me and her dad, we go get barbecue. Not a big deal, right? Her dad wants to go see some cowboy stuff. We go to like Cavender's so he could try on some boots. He wants to like see some leather stuff. And then I look up this bar called the Rowdy Cowboy, and in my head, I think I'm going to like a dive bar, right? And you look at the pictures, and it's wings, burgers, beer, and TV, and I go, this man loves that. We're going to go there.
I know you didn't.
We show up there, and the Rowdy Cowboy is basically one step away from being a titty bar.
Well, they're getting rowdy in the Rowdy Cowboy.
Yeah, they are. We walk in. First thing I see is the bartender in her bra has 100 stuffed in it, and I just sit there and I'm like, stadium pulse is rocking. I'm like, I can't believe I just took my girlfriend's dad here. This is unreal. This decision.
That's some in-law bonding right there.
Not even, but then I see that and I'm like, okay, maybe the girls have like pants on. Like maybe it's not that bad. Nope, girl walks in front of us, thong, full cheeks out, and you're just like, nope, that's not what this is. But, I didn't look a single woman in the eye, of course, and needed my inhaler like Connor does, and
where were you looking then if you weren't making eye contact, Jacob?
The ceiling. I was low-key watching the
ceiling.
The bottom of my beer. I will say that was one of the best blue moons I've ever had, though. I don't know who poured it, but it had a perfect amount of foam. The mug was chilled, and the orange was already in the drink. It was perfect. But I just kind of I feel like the listeners listening are gonna be like, "Oh my God, Jacob, you idiot! Like this is great." It's like that's what we bring to the Green Dog podcast. stupid decisions and tits. So,
Who's
part
bringing the tits?
Evan, Mikey, our two shirtless boys. No, we're all bringing the tits. We're all bringing the juice. Like, tell the people what you had at fucking Raising Cane's today, causing a chicken tender shortage in Tampa.
Oh, I had a Caniac combo.
Yeah, disgusting work.
The only thing to get when you go to Raising Cane's is a Caniac combo. Get rid of that slaw. I want double bread.
Double toast, triple
Double
sauce.
Sweet tea.
Yeah, I had that the other day after the Eagles game. That was fire.
See, you act like you can't eat a Caniac combo.
I can't. No, I had a 4-piece. I did a box.
You can't do a Caniac combo?
No, dude, that's a lot of meat for me. You know, that's a little too. You heard what I said. It's a little too much meat. No, there was that, and then also, when we were at the Rowdy Cowboy, her dad's friend came and walked in and was like, "This he's like a big kind of extravagant guy. Like he likes to eat well and drink well. Like when he goes out."
Was he invited in, or did he just show up?
He was invited to the Rowdy Cowboy. And he pulled up, and he was like, "Who picked this place?" And it's like, "I did." He's like, "I knew." He goes, "I like you already." So
He knows what's up.
just three guys here.
It could have been worse. The mother-in-law could have been there. Like Harris' mom.
But here's the thing, though. I would know what to do with her mom. Like, I would just take her mom to the mall and just let her go. Like, you tell me where you want to go. You want to go look at rings? We can go look at rings. Do you want to go look at freaking
necklaces and stuff?
You want to go to J.C. Penney and see the Black Friday sales? Be my guest. Like, girl, I know what to do with you. And I know her mom would love a coffee. We can go to a nice, cute little coffee shop. We can, like, you know what I'm saying? Dad, love her dad. Mr. Schultz is great. Ed is phenomenal. But
take him golfing next time. Like, what are we doing?
Kara doesn't have clubs. I thought about it.
You could rent.
He wants to play with his clubs. He handmade his own putter.
Handmade or like got fitted?
No, handmade. Like he designed his own putter. So, but it's
you
also
flew them things with him.
That's what I see. Listen,
next time you come, just how much is for that carry-on? We'll split it. Get your clubs up here. We'll go golfing.
Next time. But yeah, that was a bit of a fire fest, bit of a stadium pulse, stadium rocking. That's what we should start. We should do stadium pulse of the week, and just like what was the worst thing that happened to you this week that got the stadium pulse up? Because Mikey had a hell of a story Saturday morning. That was phenomenal. Or was it Saturday or Sunday? Mikey's story was great. That was phenomenal.
Oh, that was Saturday.
Yeah.
Night. So Sunday morning. He came over that day.
Well, we'll have Mikey tell it maybe one day. But let's dive into the Week 13 slate now that we got this out of the way. Where do you want to start first? You want to start at where College Game Day was at Oregon, USC versus Oregon.
Yeah.
Kind of a tale of, I don't want to say two halves per se, but Oregon impressed me in this game. Just the defense wasn't as good as or crisp as I probably would have liked them to be, but Dante Moore did what he had to do. 22 of 30, 257, 2 touchdowns. The run game was really good, 179 on the ground. It spread the ball out really well. He did have an interception as well, but the defense was what impressed me for Oregon, causing 2 interceptions. Trying to see the sack numbers. They had 1 sack, they had 6 tackles for loss, so getting in the backfield. Yeah, I was impressed. I don't know, though. I think it's on your sheet, and I want to save that. But I just don't know how much mountaintop there is for USC anymore. Like, obviously you had Caleb Williams, you tried the Miller Moss experiment, and now you're on the Maeva. I just think this is like USC, though. Like, I feel like this is as good as it's gonna get, maybe. Talk to me about how you saw this game. I was really impressed with Oregon. I was really impressed with how they came out in this game, and they kind of took it to USC in the beginning, and then just kept the foot on the gas.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to we'll get to the coaches, and I'll rip Lincoln a new ass, and that's later on, because I've got a lot to talk about considering the way he left Oklahoma. I still feel some type of way. But the USC Oregon, the way I saw it was very even matched up until, well, the biggest point was the punt return for a touchdown was awesome. The stadium went nuts. Just everything about it, I was like, yes.
Momentum shifts.
This is sick. And then, like, the biggest thing that I could put, like, a little, like, pin on was that leaping penalty on fourth down when Oregon was up 7. And they made the field goal. So then it would have been up 10. It would have been 24-14 at this point. Or 24-14. But instead, it's a 15-yard penalty because you can't run and jump over the line. You have to be within a yard and just vert over him and do it that way. So you do a 15-yard penalty, clearly field goal range. You move them closer. And Oregon, you give them a second chance at light, they score a touchdown. Now they're up 28-14, and that's just got a different feel. Because now instead of us being like, oh man, hey, we stopped them. They only got 3, let's go down and let's score 7. Now it's, dude, now we're down 14, and you're in chase mode the whole time. And then when it came down to it, obviously that last drive, that's championship drive right there. Like that right there, being able to kill that clock, go in and drive down there, like that was the difference. Get that last score, 42-27 Oregon, if you guys didn't get to watch. That's really, and like we've seen all aspects of this team going into the playoffs, this is how you want to look. Like Oregon can show you they got it on offense. My offense doesn't need to be great because my defense will help me out. Defense is slacking, special teams can score too and bring you right back into the game. That's what you want from a football team, especially going to playoff time, is all 3 phases firing on all cylinders. If I'm Oregon right now, I'm very excited.
Yeah, I think Oregon is, I don't want to say peaking at the right time, but they're getting close to that. I think they're getting to where you want to be come the playoffs, come Selection Sunday, right? I had to remember if it's a Sunday or a Monday. But I think talking about USC, man, can you get Jaden Maeva some freaking help in the run game, man? You asked him to throw it 43 times, and because of that, he throws 2 interceptions, but he passes for 306 and 3 touchdowns. So the talent is there with Maeva. And Mekhi Lemon is really good. The wide receivers had 6, 6, and 7. And, technically they had 330 yards as a team because Mekhi Lemon also threw the rock for a touchdown and 24 yards, showing off the arm. How do you do? But Mekhi Lemon had 2 touchdown receptions. They had 2 wide receivers over 100 yards. So on paper, the pass game destroyed Oregon's. But the run game, King Miller had 15 carries for 30 yards. Just tells me he was inefficient. He was the D-line and the linebackers for Oregon made it hard for USC to try and establish the run. And then they force it on Maeva. And eventually, with Maeva, he's going to make a mistake. Whether you force it or whether he is just because he's throwing so much. And it wasn't like he was incredibly inaccurate. He was 25 of 43. But it's I think USC has some serious question marks to come in the offseason. I genuinely believe that. I think you have serious question marks after UCLA. So,
I mean, we talked about it, a month ago? 2 months ago? Whenever I said, dude, USC, you're, King Miller. You know where King Miller came from? A fucking JUCO. That's cute for, UTEP. We can get a UTEP running back out of JUCO. You're USC. What are you doing going and getting a JUCO running back?
And there's probably a freshman running back that's better, too.
No,
in the
there's
California area.
But for sure, because
That's
but that's the problem is there's not a better running back on the team.
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
talent, and we pointed that out months ago. There's a huge problem when a JUCO back takes over your trap, like walks into your trap, take over your trap. You took over the running back room. Huge problem right there. Because that means you're misevaluating talent. And that's a continuation on when we talk about Lincoln Riley. But it's
Let's yeah. Let's. This game wasn't on your slate, Hunter, but I would like to talk about it. Mizzou, Oklahoma, because I think there's two ways to dissect both sides. Oklahoma's defense is elite level defense. Like, I think the last two games is the best I've seen a defense play against Bama, Tennessee, and now Mizzou. The thing that Oklahoma deserves all the credit in the world. What's frustrating, and I want to talk about this as a Mizzou fan, what's frustrating is it's almost like, you know what I hate, and the way I look at this is like we are kind of like Auburn. Great talent everywhere. Where did we miss? Quarterback. Brady Cook we didn't miss on. He was a homegrown Mizzou guy. Like he's a Mizzou, what Mizzou normally gets. Mizzou doesn't do transfers. We like Zollers, like the typical Mizzou model is Zollers, the 5-star, comes in, or a 4-star, I can't remember what he is. Is he 5?
probably 4-star because he went to Missouri. If he would have gone to a bigger school, they would have given him the extra star.
4-star quarterback, highly touted. He will start, and he would start for 4 years. And you go with the bumps and the bruises. And he gets better. But because we bring in Bo, we feel like we're in this championship window now, and we're just simply not there. Bo Pribula, at times, is frantic in the pocket. He doesn't trust his arm, and when he does, it's at the wrong times to trust your arm. I do think he's a smart runner, but he's a little too, frantic. He wants to tuck and then pop out. Pick one or the other. Keep the ball out so that way you can throw, or tuck it and run. I think Kirby Moore in the run game was better against Oklahoma. I think it's still a little too late. You gave Ahmad Hardy 17 carries for 57 yards, and a big chunk of it came on this big run, and then you went away from the run. And then you had 2 red zone trips, and you resulted in 2 field goals, one of them blocked. And because of that blocked field goal, completely shift the momentum into Oklahoma's favor. And then they go on the run. Mateer looked good. The running game looked solid. But the Oklahoma defense is really good. And what I want to say about Mizzou is that the ineptitude on offense takes away what would have been a really, really good Mizzou defense. I think Mizzou's defense was just as good as Oklahoma's. Obviously minus the 2 touchdowns we gave up. But you're asking your defense to try and win you a ball game like that with a terrible offense. That's my soapbox.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty back and forth up until the very end of the second quarter when obviously there's a slight breakdown. Mateer tells him, keep going. He goes, completes that mesh route, hits him at the end of it, and it's just green grass and elite speed. And you're not catching me. Offense for Oklahoma did not look good. And it hasn't looked good for a long time. They have no identity on the offense. Defense is elite. There's no question about that. I mean, last year, and I said this last year, I'm like, these guys, this is the first year in a Brent Venables system. This takes a year and some change to learn. So give them that full year to learn it, and then you had all of spring to go and move with it, and then here we are. A lot of these guys are now year 2 into the system. You're no longer thinking, where am I supposed to be? You're just reacting. You know where I'm supposed to be. You let those instincts go. You know what to do. A stunt, how long to hezzy, where to split, where to go, drop. You're playing free and easy. When you do that, you're not as reactive. You're not like, oh my God, I have to. What if I make a mistake? I'm supposed to go to drop back in coverage. Oh, I'm leaving an area of the field. They're running right there. Oh, I missed an assignment. You're playing free. And Bo, this is his first year playing. Like, he hasn't played a full season since he was in high school. Like, a couple snaps at Penn State, but nothing crazy. There's growing pains for him. And you know there was going to be growing pains, and he'll be back next year because no one's going to draft him. But Missouri has a problem of just being one-dimensional. And when you're one-dimensional against a football team like Oklahoma or with the defense of Oklahoma, you're never going to win. Like, they're just going to show what you do best down and force Bo to throw the ball. And now you see what happens. 2 interceptions and a QBR of 50. Like, it's difficult read. And, I mean, Penn State does not really develop quarterbacks all that well. So they're going to have to do some growing pains with him. It was honestly really, it was a shitty game if you enjoy offense. It was 2 defenses that looked good, but it wasn't like that Ohio State-Texas game where the 2 defenses, really showed out and just frustrated the offenses. It was like these offenses just aren't great. Whoever scores that big explosive play and takes over, that's who's probably going to win, and that's what it was.
Yeah, I think for me, on the Mizzou front, I think it's a drink. At some point, the Mizzou fan base is getting a little frustrated. A couple weeks ago, we're like, we want to keep drinks, and I'm all like, Drinkwitz needs to stay the coach. I think he's the right guy for Mizzou. Eventually, things will break his way, and Mizzou keeps upping the NIL and doing all the right things to keep them and progress your program, but. I just, with Pribula, man, I'm starting to I hate to say this part. I hate to say it. But I kind of wish Sam Horn was healthy to see what we had in Sam Horn. The problem is we haven't been able to see anything of Sam Horn. He's either been injured, and the only time that he was healthy, he was a backup to Brady Cook, which a 4-year senior starter, you're not going to dethrone Brady Cook. So, and even then, he was injured all of last season too, with an elbow injury from baseball. So I like Zollers a lot. I'm kind of like start him against Arkansas. Like, what do you have to lose? But I also get that you're probably going to start Pribula. I don't know. It's frustrating, but we're 7-4. Have a chance to go 8-4 on Saturday. I'm okay with it. We'll play in a shitty bowl game. I'm cool with it. It's not what I thought we were going to be, but it is what it is. I still think that if the Vanderbilt game broke a different way, things would be a little bit different. But moving on out of Oklahoma, Mizzou, because I wanted to get on my soapbox for a second. We're going to break down here next, if I can find it, BYU Cincinnati. Talk to me, Hunter, what your takeaways were from this game.
I mean, BYU just does what they do best, not does what they does best, but they do what they do best, and that's run the damn ball. BYU defeats Cincinnati 26-14, and they had 265 yards of rushing. And anytime you have that, you win the damn football game. They had about 40 minutes of time of possession. They were 50% on third downs. LJ Martin, 222 with 2 tutties, and Bear had another one on the ground. I mean, BYU just ate the clock up, sustained drives, shut them down on defense, and just did whatever they wanted to do. It's 26-14 does not sound like domination. That shit was belt to ass. Like, that was the most dominated game I've seen. This is like something I would do to you to piss you off, to like chew the clock the whole time on like NCAA, like chew full game and just run, get first downs, run, stop, get 5 yards, keep going. Like, that's what it was. It's so frustrating for Cincinnati. Like, you know it's coming, and then maybe they pop out a little screen or a little flare to the side. Like, BYU did whatever they wanted. They look really good. Defense looks good. Special teams look good. This is a team that deserves to be in the playoffs, whether they win their conference or not. They're showing that they belong.
Yeah, quick side note. Can you guess what the kick returner's name is for Cincinnati? Kind of an all-timer. His name is Matthew McDoom. It's a good last name right there. No, I agree with you completely. I think the BYU defense is really good. I like their pass rush. I think their secondary can be exposed at times. I think Bear Bachmeier just had to do what he had to do to win the game. I mean, when you got a guy going for 222, you give him the ball, right? You get out of the way, you let him have fun. L.J. Martin had a good game, 2 touchdowns on the ground. They got it, according to this ESPN box score, Cincinnati had no tackles for loss, sacks, or anything, and BYU defense had 1 tackle for loss, a sack, and a solo. So I don't know what happened to these stats, but they're all over the place versus the SEC ones that I got. But I think I do agree with you. I think BYU deserves to be in the college football playoff right now. Their only loss has been to Tech, who has been phenomenal. They beat Utah at home, and they've beaten everybody else pretty handedly. They had a small scare against Colorado. Arizona's solid, but they've taken care of business everywhere else. They played TCU, beat the crud out of them. They're showing you what they're meant to be. But I think the Big 12 being what they are might cost them, but the committee told us today what they thought of them, and they think they're a better team than Miami. So if you're BYU, that's kind of a good spot you want to be in terms of what the committee is telling you. Jumping down to the last game that we're going to recap here, Pitt, Georgia Tech. Just Georgia Tech, you had it here, and it got taken away from you. Haynes King, you're doing everything that you can, brother, but your team did not help you in this one, my friend. Mason Heinstall continues to impress, 20 of 27, 226, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Pittsburgh ran the ball all over Georgia Tech, which is kind of unusual, and they threw all over Georgia Tech. It wasn't the Georgia Tech defense that we're used to seeing. And Haynes King did what he could, but you can't throw 2 interceptions against this Pitt team and think you're going to win. And also going down 28 to start the game, also not a recipe for success.
Yeah, this is a game that I flagged immediately. And I tried not to tell you guys too loudly, but anytime a coach openly says, we don't give a shit about this game against Notre Dame, we only care about conference games, that tells you we're not even looking. We win or lose, we don't care. We're not even going to game plan for them. I'm locked in on Pittsburgh. We're going to use this week and next week on Pitt. And that's what happens. They jump up 28-0 because they spent 2 weeks preparing for Pitt. And I mean, what scared me was the fact that they didn't have Desmond Reed, but no Reed, no problem. I mean, Georgia Tech is, and I said it earlier that they were overrated, and you got on to me about it when they were 15, maybe 12. When they got up in the rankings, I was like, that's too high for them. And I didn't like their secondaries because of the way they played against Colorado. And I was like, if you get a team that's willing to throw that ball, they will jump their ass. And that's what happens. What's crazy is Georgia Tech showing a heart of a champion. Being down 28-0, 21-0, you might just call it a day. We're good, man. We just took the L. No, they came back, they fought, and the defense had a chance. All they had to do was take a stop, give Haynes King the ball back with a chance to win, and man, did they piss down their leg. Big ass hole opened up the middle. That boy was gone.
Yeah, I think if you talk to me about Pittsburgh, I've been really impressed in the way that they have become such a balanced attack on the offensive side of the ball since Mason Heinstall has taken over. Heinstall or whatever. Because Holstein was the quarterback and nothing could get going. And they switched to this freshman kid and he's the Pitt's exploded. And it's amazing to see this. And he's basically giving Pitt a fighting chance to get to the college football playoff this weekend. So I do agree. I think early on I was very high on Georgia Tech. I mean, how could you not be, right? I think you saw them so many times last year just find ways to win, and to see them not find those ways this year is a little bit disheartening. But still, if you're a Georgia Tech fan, it's still a pretty damn good year. You're 8-3. Gonna be going to a good bowl game. You've been ranked all year essentially. Like, this is a good year to be a Georgia Tech fan. So don't fret, my friends over in the Ramblin' Wreck.
Still got a shot to make the ACC Championship.
That they
need
do.
some help,
They
but
need a lot of help.
so does everyone else.
Yeah, they do. Well, let's jump over and talk about some of these coaching cycles here. Probably everyone's heard them at nauseum what this is, but before we talk about the Lane Train, James Franklin has gone to Virginia Tech. He's a Hokie. I've been singing it from the mountaintops that he was going to be a Hokie, just because the fit was almost too much of a no-brainer for both parties. So I like that move. Eric Morris today became the head coach of Oklahoma State. Unbelievable hire for Oklahoma State. I think that's a program guy. He's going to change the culture. And watch out in Stillwater. Maybe not. And he's going to bring Maker with him unless somebody poaches him for more money.
I mean, Oklahoma State now has the money. I mean, they haven't spent any of it. I mean, they made they made a huge mistake giving Ollie Gordon all of their NIL money and forgot to buy a quarterback and an offensive line to help him out. Now you were already cutting back on funds. If you go and get a new head coach, you have to give him a budget. Here's $20 million to spend. Bring your guys, and he has a team at North Texas, and he can recruit Texas extremely well. Like, this is not just like this guy's young and up. No, he's been around the block for a minute. This is the guy that went and was the offensive coordinator at Incarn Ward. He was the head coach at Incarn Ward when Cam Ward was there. When he came over to Washington State as an offensive coordinator, he brought Cam Ward with him. This is somebody that finds talent.
Maker, 0-star kid. Played no football in high school.
Yep.
Found him.
I mean, you find talent. You go out back. I mean, you go to a Waffle House, look outside. Hey, who's that kid throwing the ball over there? Oh, he's a senior. Oh, okay, let me go talk to him real quick. I mean, it'll be something crazy like that. And then touching on James Franklin, like, it was the most, like, it was a perfect landing spot for him. Like, they both need each other. And it's right in his recruiting hotspot. He's going to get kids to flip. I mean, nowadays kids commit to coaches. Like, they don't commit to schools. I mean, they do yes and no, but, like, you go to the guy that's in your living room telling you all these things you want to hear, and if he leaves, you're like, hey, he gave me playing time. Like, I'm going with him. So
he gave me a chance that nobody else did.
Yeah, he gave me my first scholarship. That means everything. And so I think they'll be immediate ACC contenders. And it's one because I think he's that good and he's that competitive. Clearly, he's been talking to kids at Penn State, and you got to be some kind of psycho. If you hand me, what was it, 72 million, 60, 50 something, anywhere between 50 and 70 million to not work, my ass will not work. You psychopath, immediately going to get another job. That's Virginia Tech. You got something special right there.
Yeah, I think Virginia Tech's a great spot. And the thing is, he's going to get such a long runway with Virginia Tech. Like, if Virginia Tech gets years of sustained 8-4, 9-3 seasons with maybe a chance for a couple ACC titles in the next 5-6 years, they're going to take that every single time.
That's what Frank Beamer did. I mean, he almost got fired, and then he was like, look, the whole lunch pail, we go to work, man. We're blue-collar, coal miner, all that shit. Boom. You sustain that? Give me 8-4 every year. They'll be happy.
I've been impressed with that hire up there in Blacksburg. Now, I mean, where does the coaching carousel begin? What's the first domino? The biggest domino of all, it is Lane Kiffin. Kiffin is the biggest domino, period. Because what he does determines what LSU and Florida do. And depending on what they do will determine what in Arkansas and Auburn, right? So in the SEC, you got 4 vacancies. Arkansas is blowing this head coaching cycle. The fact that Eric Morris picked Oklahoma State over you is a big red flag. They're probably going to get Golish, which isn't a bad hire, but is Golish ready for SEC football like that right away? It's a good question to ask, but
I think he's undefeated against the SEC. No. He lost to Bama, but he gave Bama a run for their money twice, and he beat Florida at the Swamp.
So it's just something to consider. And there's a lot of coaches are staying. There's value in staying where you are. And I think ADs have to get comfortable with giving the head coach a long runway. Maybe longer than you want. But there's some coaches, like you could tell, you got to cut the ties. Billy Napier being one of them. What Kiffin does is going to be the biggest domino in college football coaching in maybe the last 10 years. It might be a bigger move than when Lincoln Riley went to USC when he left Oklahoma. Like, is there any move bigger? Is this the biggest move in coaching?
No, when Saban left for
Bama from LSU?
No, well, he went to Miami. When he
went to the NFL.
When he left Michigan State, he kind of left, like, he broke Michigan State's heart to go to LSU, and then he left LSU and, like, kind of broke their hearts to go to the Dolphins, and then the Dolphins tried everything to keep him, but he had his heart set in college and went to Alabama. But, I mean, there's been it's been the biggest since Lincoln Riley left in the middle of the night. I mean, and before that was probably when Lane kind of cut ties to go to FAU in the middle of a national championship run. I mean, it was in between the semifinals and the finals, and they said, look, why don't you just go ahead and go to FAU? We don't need you to call games. We got Sarkisian right here. He'll call you the games. We'll be all right. But what's funny with the Lane, like the whole Lane thing is like LSU, Florida, and Ole Miss all offered him $13 to $14 million yearly. Like the AAV is $13 million, and all three of them were like, we're going to give you $25 million in NIL to deal with. Like all three of them gave them the same deal, and the betting odds, I mean, it's minus 200 for LSU, plus 175 for Florida, and plus 600 to Ole Miss, which tells me he ain't going to Ole Miss. But you know what would be the funniest thing for Lane Kiffin to do? Because there's a new opening in college, or in football, I should say. What if Lane went back to the Raiders?
No.
Like, that's not happening. But here's what we know. His kids, first off, his daughter is dating Whit Weeks. So she is cool with going to Baton Rouge. Knox, his son that plays football, took an official visit last week. And then this Friday, we saw him pre-game, LSU headphones on. So we're seeing these little Easter eggs. We're like, all right, LSU there, LSU there. We see the private jets landing. It's landing more in Baton Rouge. And rumor is that Lane closed in on a $1.2 million house in Baton Rouge today. And that's not from like an LSU fan account. That's like we got a little source. So I think it's done. I think Lane is going to LSU. If that source is accurate, he's 100% going to LSU, because you don't just buy a house in Baton Rouge, just buy a damn house. I mean, I was big on him coming to Florida, but when it looks like this, he's going to LSU, and I just hope that he gets to coach and finish coaching the Ole Miss game. But I wouldn't be surprised if Ole Miss just kicked him in the corner, a little interim, as they go into the playoffs. But it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you look at it, I feel like the Florida train was strong, and then LSU entered the picture. And then LSU was like, we have fuck you money. And Florida's like, well, we have that. And LSU's like, no. We have fuck you money. And here it is. And if I'm Lane's doing this whole, like, press tour with Pat McAfee and all this crap, being like, I've never taken a job for money and never will. It's like, brother, the dollar bills talk.
We all take a job for money. That is why we work.
Yeah.
I only go to work because they pay me.
It's I think it's a surprising move for Kiffin, but it's also like he's always taken the best job. That's like he could go to Florida. I would be shocked if he does because it just feels like it's too obvious that it is LSU at this point. And I'd be shocked if it's not LSU. I think it just makes too much sense. You get to stay in the SEC, you're getting way more money. Like, unless you, like, suck terribly. Like, he's just going to be at LSU for a while. And he's a coach that if he recruits the state of Louisiana the way LSU does, that's a national title waiting to happen there. So,
I mean, he's been recruiting like a madman. Plus, you mix in the fact that he hits transfer portal hard.
And hits on talent like Trinidad Chambliss, D2 quarterback. Like, he's not only is he hitting the portal, he's finding the right talent in the portal. So, then if you're looking at it, if you're Florida, where do you go after that, right? Like, where do you go if you're stuck on that? Where do you go? I don't know. I don't know who your next best option is. Dabo.
You start hitting up coaches that are already hired. Hey, you didn't get renewed. We'll renew your you come over here. But it's funny that you would go to LSU when there's already so much turmoil going on with the whole Brian Kelley. Like, the fact that they are, we fired you, but now we didn't fire you. We're going to fire you for cause. Like, it's like a whole lawsuit ordeal. Like, it's getting nasty. And it's gotten to the point where Brian Kelley can't even get another job right now. And the government's getting involved in Louisiana, and then he got removed. So it's with that big old mess right there. Why would you even want to go there? Like, to me, that's a whole mess. I'd take that as like, all right, that's a sign that I shouldn't show up. I'm going to head out. I mean, I feel bad for like Brian Kelley's kid, the senior night where he's like had a t-shirt that says free Brian Kelley on it. Like, him saying free my boy was kind of cringy. The fact that you would talk about your father like that's nasty work. But the fact that like Brian Kelley can't show up for his son without him getting berated or like it wasn't safe for him to go, kind of crazy. But I can see Lane going to LSU. I think if he goes to Florida, he's trying way too hard to be Steve Spurrier. And I think that's the reason why he probably won't go there is there's too many ties to LSU. And he's so family bound right now that the family, I mean, clearly likes Baton Rouge. Who hates New Orleans? Like, I mean, why not go there?
Yeah, I agree. Again, Baton Rouge, his daughter's been there a bunch. She's probably whispering in his ear being like, Dad, the gumbo, crawfish, boudin.
All three Weeks brothers are there. Witt is a senior, so he will not be there past this year. Unless he can get a medical, but he played for some change games.
Yeah, it'll just depend on what they do, but yeah. It's going to be an interesting coaching cycle. There's just not, I think we keep saying this, there's just not enough top-end talent for some of these top-end schools. So, Arkansas is going to get shortchanged. Auburn's definitely going to get shortchanged. Florida fans are going to be pissed with whoever the new head coach is because it's not Kiffin. So, we're going to see where everyone goes and where the dominoes may fall and where to go from there. So, we talked about Oregon earlier here. Let's talk about the most tested team currently within the college football playoff. In the current rankings as it stands, within the 12, you have Ohio State, Indiana A&M, Georgia, Texas Tech, Oregon, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Alabama, Miami, and then Tulane are your 12 teams. The BYU on the outside, Utah looking on the outside. Who do you feel is the most battle-tested team so far, Hunter?
I mean, for me, when you look at full body of work, top to bottom, strength of schedule, how they've come out of it, it's got to be Georgia. To me, Georgia's proven offensively they can win a shootout. The defense can hold their own. When they're down in games, they can come back. When they're up in games, they can hold their own and even grow the lead. Special teams has looked good at times, or not at times, but they've looked good all year. I mean, this is a team that I said might lose 3 to 4 games, and I said it with my chest. And the games that I thought they would lose, they won emphatically. The fact that they're 10-1 is a testament to how good of a team they are, and their one loss being to Alabama. That if that one wide receiver doesn't drop the ball, you're looking at an undefeated team right now going into this game in Atlanta.
To me, I think I'm going to go with Alabama as the most battle-tested team. I mean, you look at the stretch of games that they've had with going to Georgia, taking on Vanderbilt, going to Mizzou, taking on Tennessee in that 4-game stretch, coming out and dominating most of those games minus Georgia, take care of business against LSU. I think if they were beat Oklahoma, I think we're looking at them as a top 5 team. But, out of nowhere, the committee kind of was like, Florida State remembered that Florida State sucks. So, came out of nowhere to punish them. I think Bama's better than Notre Dame. I don't think that's fair to do that.
I think there's a lot of teams better than Notre Dame. But, I mean,
conversation for another day, but
when it comes to the week one matchups, you gotta realize, one, teams have months to prep for you. That is we make a huge emphasis in season about, did this team have a bye week before you play me? Because you had 2 weeks to prep for me, you're gonna look significantly better. Imagine if you had 2 or 3 months to prep for me. And that Alabama team that showed up that day wasn't even, they were there physically, but they weren't there mentally, they weren't there emotionally, they weren't there. That was the worst looking Alabama team I've ever seen in my lifetime. They just didn't show up to play. If Alabama, and the following week or the week after that, when I saw the Wisconsin game, I go, this is Alabama. This right here, flag that. That's who they are. Not that FSU game. If that Alabama team would have showed up to Tallahassee, that team would have whooped their ass. And there's no doubt about it because, Florida State had a game plan that was geared specifically for Alabama. We're going to run, and then pop pass. And if you hit it, boom, your money. But if you don't hit it, which they haven't hit it since, they're dog shit. And I like the Alabama. I don't have Alabama notes in front of me, but Georgia went over current 6, 16, 18, and then they lost to Alabama. That's their only loss, and then they play the 23 team in the country. It's hard for me to put a 2-loss team as the most battle-tested, ready to go for the playoffs, but I don't hate it.
Yeah, I just think when you look at that stretch of games with the 4 ranked opponents, and you come out winning those, it's hard for me to turn an eye to against some of the other competition within ahead of them. I think Oklahoma's up there for battle tested.
I was just about to say, then why wouldn't you go with Oklahoma, who just had that stretch of 4 and didn't lose any? We talked about it, we're they're cooked.
Ole Miss lost to Ole Miss.
They did lose to Ole Miss.
No, but Oklahoma's been.
That was Lane Kiffin's best coached game.
Yeah, but also they faced a Michigan team.
Mm-hmm.
I think battle tested and how you looked after being battle tested, I think matters a little bit. Oklahoma hasn't been nearly as impressive than Bama has, if that makes sense.
All around, I would agree. Yeah. Because the offense hasn't been good since the injury to Mateer.
I think that's where it's there's a clear shift versus you mentioned the Wisconsin game was a gear turn for Bama. Mateer's hand injury was a step back for Oklahoma, and they've never fully really recovered since then. So that's where I got Bama. I do like Oklahoma as they're very battle tested. Man, if Pitt could come out on top here, man, that's a good stretch of games for them being battle tested. Yeah, I don't know if I would put anybody else even close to that. Honestly, I think it's between those 3 schools. Honestly, I don't think you can make a case for Indiana or Ohio State. You can't make a case for Oregon.
That conference is so big that it hurts them because they just don't.
It's so top heavy.
Iron sharpens iron, and when you don't face each other, you don't ever get sharpened. When you're playing cupcakes and these we just saw Ohio State rested their top 2 receivers. It's real nice to put in, what does the NBA have? The rest.
Yeah.
the damn rest games. It'd
Yeah.
be nice. That's real nice that your schedule allows you to have a little rest game. We play Rutgers. It's okay, guys. We'll put the second team in. You guys get your bodies right because we got Michigan coming up. Like that's a joke. Like it, and I think, and I said this earlier. If Michigan beats Ohio State, that'll be the best thing for Ohio State going into the playoffs. Or actually, they'd go in. They might not even make the conference championship at that point because of the tiebreakers. But if they sit there and spew over it, that'll be a different team that rolls into playoffs. Whoever plays them first, yikes, they're getting killed. Like, and I don't know if Indiana will have the same impact to them because they did play at Oregon and win, so they are tested. But I did not like the Oregon Dan Lannings comment about the SEC and the cupcakes.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole, well, we don't play, what was it? What did he say? Chattanooga State? Chattanooga is not a state, nor is that a school or anything. And Dan also coached in the SEC. We can find so many news clips about you saying, well, this league is very difficult, and yeah, oh, the schedule, this and that. They've already popped up on my Twitter. I laugh every time. But even Oregon's got an easy-ass schedule. I mean, you played Montana State. You played Oklahoma State, who can't find Power 4 talent to save their life. Northwestern, who's 10th in the Big Ten, or 9th in the Big Ten. And Oregon State. Those are your out-of-conference and then one conference. Like, you played Indiana and lost. The Penn State whiteout game in double overtime is probably, I mean, that's a solid win. Because you had them full strength, full gear. But your best win's USC, who's 5th in the Big Ten. Like, that whole knock, that rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah. Who's gonna make the ACC Championship, Hunter? Who are you feeling? That was next on your next on your thing.
That is a six-way tie. I saw that post. I want to see if I can find it. It was like on ESPN. Yes, it was like all the different scenarios. And the Miami one made me laugh because it was like they need to win. And this team needs to win. This team needs to win, lose, or like draw. I was like, oh my God. I was like trying to read it. I feel like enough craziness will happen that where's the scenarios? There it is. Virginia plays Virginia Tech. Virginia will be in, and that's a lot for SMU to win. And if SMU loses, it might be Virginia Pitt. Looking at this because I don't see bro. That's all that Miami needs to get in.
It's a lot of help you're gonna need to have.
We need UVA, Duke, and SMU to lose. Or SMU can lose, Duke needs to lose, UVA needs to lose, and UNC needs to win. Or it's like 7 different combos, but you just gotta win. And you play Pitt, that's hard enough. And I just don't see all of that happening for Miami. I think they're out and they're looking for a bubble, but if you do well against Pitt, I think you pull yourself closer to Notre Dame. And in the past 5 weeks, Miami's looked just as good as Notre Dame. Offensively, like ever since that last loss, and even then, and I'll make an even more emphasis, ever since that ACC referee got fired or suspended and stopped working Miami games, the one that cost them both of those games that they've lost, they have won by double to triple digits. Or not triple digits, but multiple possessions. They've turned it up a notch and whooped ass the last 3 or 4 games. And so this is a team that is fighting for their life, going against Pitt, who you spent 2 weeks preparing for Georgia Tech. I hope you spent a little bit of that free time that you had with Notre Dame to also look into Miami, because if you didn't, Miami is way more dangerous than Georgia Tech. Especially the way we just saw Carson Beck play. Miami will beat you in your own house. So I don't care that it's 30 degrees. I think the Canes win that, and that'll knock off Pitt. I think it'll be Virginia and SMU. What do you think? There's just so much wackiness that's going on.
There's so much wackiness, but the thing I want to see, just because it would be a good comedic moment for me, and I it's not official, but if Pitt finds a way to beat Miami and just rip the heart out again, that would be golden. But I don't know yet. I'm not quite there yet to make a full educated decision on where I want to go. I do agree. I think it's Virginia in there. I'm not. From what I've read from ESPN, SMU has a 55% chance to win the ACC right now. So the ESPN model is predicting Pitt to lose, SMU to win, and then beat Virginia. So my SMU pick from the beginning of the year isn't terrible. I don't think I picked them to win the ACC, but I picked them to be in the championship. So we gotta go back. I gotta go back to. Huh? Yeah, I didn't believe in Miami. We believed in Clemson a little way too hard, hindsight wise, but here we are. Moving on here, FCS Playoff bracket. What notes do you have for that for me, Hunter? Because I got some vested interest in the FCS playoffs this year.
I like that Harvard and Yale can now finally they're both in it this year. I'm getting over it.
No, I'm really pumped, man. And you had Rhode Island who had a great year. You had UC Davis have a really good year. You have Lamar's had a historic year, and they made it. You got New Hampshire, Dakota, Villanova.
I filled out my bracket.
You filled out your bracket?
Yeah.
All right, I'll fill out a bracket right here, right now with the people. We're gonna take Illinois State for the simple fact of my brother's girlfriend goes there. And
I have Illinois State because I think they are the more talented team. Even though they are not ranked, I just like the way they play ball.
Central Connecticut State and Rhode Island. The Rams of Rhode Island are legit. They won the CAA. They're going to go face UC Davis. Harvard, Villanova, you know what time it is. It's always fuck Harvard, and it's always go Cats.
No, you're wrong.
So we're going V's
I also have Rhode Island facing UC Davis, but Harvard will upset Villanova. I like the way that Harvard plays. They are fighting to get in. They're in. They're going to take down UVA. Or Nova Nation. Not it's UVA.
It's VU.
VU. They're going to take down Nova Nation. Then you have Tennessee Tech, who we got to see them play against Kentucky, going against North Dakota. I have Tennessee Tech facing Tarleton State.
I'm going to rock with Tennessee Tech as much. North Dakota wins the uniform battle, though. But
the Kelly Greens are sharp.
Yes, I will rock Tennessee Tech with you.
Tennessee.
It's the Yale Bulldogs for me. It's pretty simple. Vested
over
interest.
Youngstown?
Vested interest.
I have Youngstown. Only one Ivy League can survive, and I took Harvard. It's too greedy if I take them both.
I'm taking. We got to be nice to Lamar, man.
He never answered my email.
I'm working on it.
I'm taking Abilene Christian.
And listen, man, I'm taking Lamar. He's sending me a little football stadium. Like, I got to take my boys at Lamar, man.
Abilene Christian's got it. I like them a lot. I like the way the offense looks. I just don't like them against Stephen F. Austin.
Drake, South Dakota. Drake?
No,
we're taking South Dakota.
Drake's
the
losing.
Coyotes.
Drake's a basketball school. Stick to it.
The Jackrabbits of South Dakota State versus the Wildcats of New Hampshire.
New Hampshire!
I was going to pick New Hampshire as well. That's a Hockey East school for me.
No, New Hampshire is not winning. That's a hockey team. South Dakota State will move on to lose to Montana. Montana looks very good.
I'm taking North Dakota State. I'm going to keep the Rhode Island team rocking over UC Davis.
That's where I'm indifferent. I do have North Dakota State, but I do have UC Davis with the bye taking down Rhode Island.
I got the Cats again, up 12-5 upset over Lehigh.
I have Harvard, who beat Villanova, or will beat Villanova, sees Lehigh, beats Lehigh, and will face Tarleton State They will upseat Tennessee Tech.
I will also take Tarleton State in that win. Yale, you played valiantly, but the Bobcats of Bozeman, they will move on to Montana State.
My team with the Y will also be losing to Montana State.
I am also going to take Stephen F. Austin over Lamar.
Yeah, I have Stephen F. Austin beating ACU, but I have them losing to Montana State.
I am going to take Mercer over South Dakota. Mercer looked pretty good against Auburn, so that's my only logic.
I am not. I'm going to take South Dakota over Mercer just because I think Mercer is going to feel a little too good about themselves. And then that time off, I think they're going to get rusty. My final four will be Montana against Montana State and North Dakota State against Tarleton State. It's a little chalky. By little, I mean it's chalk. It is.
I am also taking North Dakota State, and Montana with the Cats going to the Final Four. Put your V's up.
No,
Put your V's up. But I'm going to rock North Dakota State and Montana State in the finals, and the Bobcats of Bozeman. The Montana State Bobcats are going to win the national championship.
I have my own dog of the week alumni over at Tarleton State facing off against Montana. Unfortunately, he will not get a ring. Montana will win it over Tarleton State, and I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun here. It's going to be a lot of fun in terms of teams I've never watched before. 5-win teams. I think it depends on your program and your expectations. I think some players, like seniors, they want a bowl game. I think some dudes are like, I can't wait to hit the transfer portal. So that's my opinion on that. I'm more interested in this best rivalry game of the week and who's my favorite rivalry matchup. That's what I'm really wanting to dive into.
Yeah, I think the only guys that care that are 5 wins, like the Egg Bowl, like Mississippi State wants to win the Egg Bowl and then become bowl eligible because of that.
Yeah.
Same with Auburn. I think it's just another level of vested interest. I think if you're at I'm trying to find another 5-win team real quick. Hypothetically, if you're Stanford at 4-7, say you were 5-6 and you're going against Notre Dame, you're probably like, fuck this game. We're going to the transfer portal. But as for this week, I think, my favorite rivalry is Florida State-Miami. Just because, obviously, I'm a Miami fan, and then the whole wide left crew, the fact that there's a whole, 30 for 30 on it with the U, and just the whole, growing up here, that's what it is. It's a lot of kids are Florida or Florida State, and then I'm one of the few Miamis, so having to deal with all those little shits. It's a vested interest. But for the week, I am going to go with the Iron Bowl. Just because, I remember watching the Iron Bowl and, being, at Buffalo Wild Wings after a tournament and, coming home or coming there after a tournament. We roll in at, 7 and it's on. I remember being at Beef O'Brady's for the Chris Davis kick return for a touchdown and just the whole, restaurant going nuts. It was one of the cooler sports moments, and that same Beef O'Brady's is where I saw the 2008 ALCS Game 7, where the Rays beat the Red Sox. So I weirdly end up there for big moments. But I think the Iron Bowl is just different, especially being at Jordan-Hare. There's weird voodoo there. I'm not even invested. I don't have any vested interest in either teams, but there's a weird voodoo with that stadium. It's something different, and I don't care that Auburn is 5-6. That is a game I'm going to be glued to.
Yeah, I think my favorite rivalry in football, I think it definitely is Bama-Auburn. Just because, like you mentioned, they go to Jordan-Hare, and for some reason, they just... Auburn has no business being in this game, and yet they're taking it to Bama. And, if it wasn't, we think back to, who was it? It was Bryce Young, I believe, where he had to throw was it Bryce Young or Milroe?
The Jalen Milroe in the back of the end zone on 4th and goal.
4th and goal. Like, it's just, and Auburn had no business being in that game either.
Nope.
And here they were.
And
So
and
there's always something of like, you look forward to it like all day because it would be the night game. It'd be the special CBS night game, and there was juice and there was palpitation and like you felt and you could hear not Musburger. Is it Musburger? No, Brent.
Something like that. Nussburger yeah.
Yeah. And you get to hear, hello, friends, and it's Alabama and Auburn in the Iron Bowl. Like, you just hear the CBS music, and you're sitting at home, and it's a crisp Saturday night. Like, there's nothing better. But, for me, my favorite matchup of the week, I'm in between two. It's Miami and Pitt, and I'm also really locked in on Texas A&M Texas. Because imagine a world, Hunter, we talked about this. Imagine a world, you're going to hate it, but imagine a world that Texas beats A&M and you get 6 SEC teams into the college football playoff.
Even then, I don't know if you get that many even if Texas has 3 losses.
Yeah, but
you just secured yourself to a really nice.
They beat Oklahoma. They beat 2 top 10 teams according to this here.
You beat a wounded duck Oklahoma team. You caught them at the weakest point. You did beat Vanderbilt.
You beat the crap out of Vanderbilt. But then again, Georgia took it to you.
Georgia beat that ass at home.
Georgia, but I'm just saying, it could happen. I'm not saying it will happen, but it could possibly happen within the parameters of what we know about the committee.
I think if that were to happen, I think it officially locks in the fact that both Big Ten teams would be a top 4 seed.
Correct. Yes. Last little bit here, Hunter. Do we want to go ahead and talk about Georgia, Georgia Tech, A&M, Texas, and all those? You want to do those? Or I feel like
got to the Lincoln Riley.
I feel like we covered some of these games already, so I don't feel like we need to dive into it. But yeah, we could talk Lincoln Riley here. Lincoln Riley, do we feel that the experiment has ended? And do we feel that it's failed? On my side of the hall, I think this is from what the expectations were for USC and what we've seen from other coaches right now and other programs, yeah, it's a failure and he should be fired.
I mean, let's think about when he got hired. So he came in to replace Clay Helton, and Lincoln's coached in 51 games for USC. The last 51 games for Clay Helton, I'll tell you what he did. He went 34-17. And I'll even compare it to Lincoln Riley's 51 games. What do you think Lincoln Riley's record is in 51 games at USC?
How many years has he been there?
5?
No, probably less. He's been
4
there
years?
Yeah, 4 years.
This would be 48. Yeah, 48 games with the 12 plus
a bowl game.
He's got a couple bowl wins.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna go off of 50 games here. 38-12.
So Clay Helton went 34-17 and got fired. Lincoln Riley is 34-17.
I was close.
Now, Clay Helton won a conference championship. He won a title. Does Lincoln Riley have any titles in the Pac-12 or the Big Ten? No. He's got 2 bowl wins, which is one better than Clay Helton. But Clay Helton was 3-1 against Utah. Want to guess how Lincoln Riley does against Utah?
He was 0-2.
He is 0-3.
Oh, that's right. And they played again in the Pac-12 title game. Yep.
0-3. And Notre Dame, Lincoln Riley is 1-3 against Notre Dame, whereas Clay Helton was 0-3. So if Clay Helton, who made significantly less than Lincoln Riley in the last 51 games, did the exact same as Lincoln Riley now, and in the way that you stole Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma, ripping him from that fan base, paying him $110 million to come to Southern California, I don't think you can blame this on Lincoln Riley. I think you have to blame this on the institution and the AD. I mean, USC spent their money incorrectly, and you're seeing it today. Like, there's schools that are rounding up millions of dollars to fire coaches right now, but you're getting, what, $50 million for this buyout, $70 million for that buyout? What if you invested that into your staff? What if you invested that into your roster? Like, we just saw, I mean, shit, Wisconsin is spending money on a damn indoor facility and a weight room. You could have spent that damn money on a quarterback and a running back, and you wouldn't be dog shit right now. Like, it... and it's not like USC doesn't have money. Like, what? Like, you found $110 million to pay Lincoln Riley and steal him and buy him out of his contract and get, like, Zachariah Branch. Ever heard of him? He's the leading receiver for Georgia. Where was he before that? USC. Ever heard? Let's flip to this one over here. So, and then even Arizona State's running back Brown is running all over the place, and you kicked him out for your Louisville, like, or your Louis luggage. You're getting recruits, you're not keeping them. Why? Because you spent the fucking money on the coach. It's amazing that your starting quarterback was a backup at UNLV. Before that was Miller Moss, who was a third-string quarterback, and right now your running back is fucking King Miller. He's a walk-on. He's a JUCO. That's a cute story, but, like, that's embarrassing that is your running back right now. You are USC. You're not Akron. You're not UMass. You're not some teeny tiny school. Some San Diego State. That's cool. You'll never win a natty like this, and you're never gonna be shit. Like, you get 4 and 5 stars out of high school, and then you gotta pay to keep them. Or if they're in the portal, that's your second chance. You pay to get them. And if you could return your talent, like, you wouldn't be shopping on Shein looking for a transfer for a fucking JUCO running back. Like, you could have grabbed Ahmed Hardy. You could have got, like, Fluff Boswell. You could have gotten C.J. Donaldson from West Virginia. Like, this stuff, just, like, what are we doing? If you're USC, this is embarrassing. Oh, I flipped to the wrong side. I have all these notes. I was so pissed writing this shit that I just kept going and going. I mean, I think it also goes on the coaching staff for evaluating talent incorrectly. And the only way you can really assess that is by looking at your roster and then looking at who you thought was leaving and what they're doing. Because if you thought you were going to be good, like, you're going to be better without Deuce Robinson and Zachariah Branch, who the fuck do you have to replace them? Like, Lemon was there before, but Lemon is not better than both of them cats. And not to shit on the JUCO, that's high praise for the fact that you took over this running back room, but somebody's not doing their job. And I made the same statement about the running back room like a month or two ago. And speaking of, like, Zachariah Branch went to Georgia. The Georgia running back, Frazier, he comes from Mater Dei. You have one of the biggest high school pipelines in your backyard, and you're letting kids go across the country to fucking Georgia. Like, they don't care about the SEC or UGA. Like, they don't know. They want to go to USC where they saw Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart and Carson Palmer. Well, they might be a little too young for Carson Palmer, but you saw the Trojan. Like, $110 million on a coach instead of a roster is insane. Like, it just makes no sense to me. And I think it has to fall on Lincoln Riley because your coaching staff isn't doing their job and you're not doing your job as a recruiter or a retainer of talent. And it's sad to see a program like USC completely shit the bed in a world where, no offense, you won all your fucking natties paying players. You know how to do it. What's wrong now when it's legal? Why can't we pay players? Like, what's the disconnect? Like, I just don't understand. Like, what are your thoughts? What do you think the disconnect is for USC not being successful today?
I think it's a multitude of things. I think it's a lack of commitment to your football program, which is a weird thing to say because it's USC and they have the history, and, like, you should be able to, like, recruit that area well in at least the West Coast and, like, be the top school. But I think the playing field isn't what it was back in 2007, 2005 in the glory days of USC. And you know, they reinvested in the basketball too. Like, you got Juju Watkins and Musselman there. Like, USC is more than a football school, unfortunately. And when you're more than a football school, like your resources, if you're not adequately resourced, get pulled in a million different directions. And it leaves you with question marks. I don't think he's done a great job recruiting that area. I don't think he's done a great job recruiting in general for what. And obviously, Big 12 is one thing, but like from Oklahoma and in the Pac-12 is another. But like you still see some of these cats in the Big 10. And you're not even competing with some of them. And, you should be out resourcing 90% of the Big Ten. And I think they're just kind of in the middle of the pack, right? I think Indiana's has stepped up. I think Northwestern is really reinvesting in their football program. Maybe not to the same level of a USC, but in what they're doing, you can see the reinvestment into their program.
For sure, especially investing in Preston Stone, getting a quarterback. You knew they weren't going to be a slouch when they're like, hey, the most important position on the field will be taken care of. And then you go from there.
But the football stadium, everything that comes with it. Obviously, Penn State's not going to be bad for long. Ohio State's Ohio State. Michigan's Michigan. Like you have Oregon and Washington who
both are poaching your pipeline.
No football is the bread and butter and are reinvesting wisely into those bread and butters, and then you look at the rest of the Big Ten, it's like, I hate to say it, but like, some schools are on the right path. They're just not the big name. Like a school like Rutgers on an athletics front are doing the right things to get into the NIL space. And even though I think USC is light years ahead in some of the NIL space, you're in LA, the most marketable area in America minus New York. Like, and you're not getting any athletes to come be marketable with you. I think that says a lot as well as a brand. You're not who you think you are. And I want to say that to a lot of football programs. You are not who you think you are. Just because you're USC and you're like, we should dominate, no one cares anymore. They care about your coach. They care about what you can offer. And Oregon can offer a lot more, not only in funds, coaching, education is great, the connections outside, like all of it, it all culminates. But the playing field is even, and I think USC is behind the playing field for the first time in maybe a long time. And Lincoln Riley is just trying to deal with the cards that he's being dealt. But a lot of the money went to you, brother. So therefore, there's not a lot of money to go elsewhere. And to be honest, they kind of really just wanted to hit fool's gold with you with Caleb Williams. So, and unfortunately, you couldn't
go 7-5 or 8-4 with him.
Yeah, like you couldn't produce. And again, it almost, you know what it feels like if I want to compare it to a college basketball sense? It feels like the waning years of Calipari at Kentucky. Like it has that same feel. Don't really care. You care about wins and losses, but you're coming out here being like, I care about the development of my players. You still get good top end talent, but you're settling for like 5th or 6th in your conference. So yeah, those are my issues that I see with USC. I don't know if they're able to rectify them in the right time frame. Personal. Any closing thoughts, Hunter, here before we sign off?
I was trying to see what their recruiting class looks like for this season. So I thought I saw somebody say they're at 13 for the 2025 season. Let's see. Oh, those are locked in. 20. So right now, they have 1 5-star and 24 stars. And 14 3-stars. So USC currently has the #1 recruiting class in high school football right now. Barely ahead of Georgia, Alabama, Notre Dame, Oregon, and Ohio State. They're all like nipping at their heels. So he's able to get high school talent. The problem is when we live in the world of NIL and the JUCO kids getting 2, 3, 4 extra years. Who do you want to be your quarterback? Some 18-year-old kid that was just playing a bunch of Tylers and Andys that next year are going to be cheering him on? Or do I want to go and find a Diego Pavia that's been playing with grown men for 6, 7 years? Which one do you think will lead you to be more successful?
Pavia.
And it's not Pavia per se, but it is that situation. So I run a running back that's, this guy ran for 1,000 yards in the JUCO. Then he went to the Sun Belt. He's another 1,000-yard rusher. He went to the SEC, rushed for 400 yards, couldn't see the field. He went to the MAC, rushed for 1,000 yards, and here I am. I need a second-string running back. Do I want an 18-year-old, or do I want this JUCO, or not even a JUCO, but this group of 5 kid that rushes for 1,000 yards? Sure, he can't run in the SEC, but he can come here and he ain't gonna fumble. It's a grown man. He's gonna deliver punishment. I'll take that kid over the 18-year-old because the 18-year-old's got another year or 2 of lifting. It's like we just touched on it. He can find talent. He just can't keep talent. So and this is what or at least I suggested when we were talking about Clemson and Dabo. Like, we both agreed Dabo shouldn't be going anywhere. But what I said, if I was the AD, I'd entertain that shit, and I would tell the boosters, hey, his buyout is $40 million. Come up with it, and we'll see what we can do. You hand me $40 million in Dabo's money, I put it at the desk, and I go, this is from the boosters. They want me to fire you with this. It's the rest of your contract. What I'm going to do is reinvest it in you, and I want you to use that for NIL. I need you to be successful like you were and upgrade what we're missing. You give him $40 million or whatever the fuck his buyout is? First off, if my boss goes, this is how much money you should be making if I fire you, you can either have it or we can invest it in the team. Yeah, I want that invested in my team. Like, you don't think Clemson would be a national champion immediately? That's crazy that it picked that up. Because I was pointing that way. Like, obviously you can't hand Lincoln Riley $110 million, but you could, dude, we got to renegotiate your contract. Like, way too much money is being invested in you, and you haven't produced. It's time for you to invest in your team. And if you're not willing to invest in your team, well, then I don't know how much, it's kind of like a business, like, oh, that machine needs, oil in it. If you're not willing to oil the machine when it breaks down, you should have got some fucking oil. I think Lincoln Riley needs to invest in the team, or the AD needs to do something. The fact that you let all those kids go and thought Timu was going to patch, like, dude, you're putting a Band-Aid over a bullet hole. Like, that ain't going to fix your problem. It's stupid. But we can do a quick look ahead for Week 14. I have the 4 games. I have, 2 pinpoints for each one. Georgia Tech is the first one that I got. Georgia Tech's defense looks terrible. Georgia's defense looks great. Fun fact, Georgia Tech has transfers from Georgia because they couldn't see the field at Georgia. Who's going to win? The team full of guys that make my team, or the ones that couldn't make my team? I think Georgia's going to win this pretty handedly. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm kind of rocking with Georgia for this one. That one can be an official pick. I think I'm in the same kind of boat. Also, it's played at Sanford Stadium North? Yes? Atlanta, Athens?
I thought it's at Georgia Tech.
I know, but no. It's at Mercedes-Benz, buddy. Yeah, it's Sanford North because they show
that's Georgia's second home. Yeah.
Like, Georgia Tech, blame that on the AD. If you're a Georgia Tech fan, you have every right to be pissed. Your Georgia Tech AD took the money, and Georgia was like, yeah, we do not. After last year, we don't want to play you at home.
Amen. But at the same time, you're here because that AD took that money and invested in the roster and got you Patterson, got you Eric Rivers. You can pay Philo to be your starter next year. Haynes King got some money. That offensive line got some. So, sorry it's not at home, but also we moved it here so we could pay you. I'm cool with that. I wish it would be on campus and we just add sponsors all around it and put it on the field and make them pay us. But if it's a neutral site, it makes me feel a little bit better about my pick.
Yeah, no. I'm rocking with the dogs there.
Yeah, next I have Texas A&M at Texas. You hinted you have Texas. For me, before the season, I said Texas A&M was a better team, more talented, and I think A&M is better. I like the seniority. I think it's going to be a tough one. We just saw A&M at their very worst against South Carolina 2 weeks ago, and that team has 0 quit in them. I think that shows a lot. And looking at Texas, I still don't like them. They maybe just now are waking up, and it's week 14. And if you think about it, A&M had Samford last week, so that's really just a bye. So I hope they did spend 2 weeks prepping for Texas. And Texas had to prepare for Arkansas, and they beat the brakes off of them, which tells me they prepped for Arkansas. But they also got killed by Georgia, and I say that because I think A&M is a lot closer to Georgia than they are Arkansas. And so with that logic, I think Texas A&M goes into Texas just like Georgia did. And I don't think they beat ass, but I think they win the game.
Yeah, for Texas A&M, I just talked about it on the other podcast, The Deal with D&J, and when you look at it, Texas and Texas A&M are pretty similar in terms of, you look in the trenches, Texas has a good O-line, Texas A&M has a good O-line, Texas has a good defensive line, Texas A&M has a good defensive line. Wide receivers, you give the edge to A&M, but Texas isn't like too far behind. They got some talent. Secondary, they're pretty even. Linebackers are pretty even. Running game is a little bit more favorable in terms of A&M side of the ball. What does it come down to? Quarterback. And I'll take Marcel Reed over Arch Manning this year. So I'm leaning towards Texas A&M for this one.
Can I give you a blind resume?
Be my guest. You know I love a good blind resume.
I have that one's for a different quarterback. I saw it and immediately thought of you. All right, we've got 2 quarterbacks. They both have 31 total touchdowns. One of the quarterbacks has 11 more passing yards, and that same quarterback has 1 more top 10 win. Who do you think the 2 quarterbacks are that I'm talking about?
Can you say it for me one more time?
All right, so the 2 quarterbacks, so quarterback A and B, have the same total touchdowns. They have the same amount. It's at 31. Quarterback A has 9 more passing yards at 2,763. And they have 1 more top 10 win than the other quarterback. What 2 quarterbacks do you think I'm talking about?
Well, if it's based off of why you're doing a blind resume out of nowhere, I would assume it's Marcel Reed and Arch Manning.
Marcel Reed is quarterback number B. He is the one that's got 1 top 10 win. He's got 31 total touchdowns and 2,752 yards passing. Quarterback A does stand for Arch. Arch Manning has 1 more top 10 win. He has the same amount of total touchdowns, and he has 11 more passing yards. Do you still give the edge to Arch, knowing those stats?
Yeah, I like the wide receivers of A&M a lot more than I like the Texas receivers. Like Concepcion and Craver
He's a dog.
and Craver are so good.
Mario Craver's insane, and Concepcion at NC State, we're all like, he needs to get out of there.
Yeah, so I lean that. I just think this moment's going to be a little too big for Arch. I think he's settled in. I just think Elko, I just feel the momentum for A is right there. But I also will not be surprised if Marcel Reed is incredibly sloppy with the ball and Texas makes him pay for it. Who'd you went with? You go with who? You went with Texas?
So funny enough, I'm going with all of the road teams.
Yeah.
Every single road team. I'm 10 for 10 on the road. Not even road dogs, but they're my road dogs. Texas A&M's who I got. Miami is at Pitt. Clearly, you can see from the glowing reflection. I'm rocking with the Canes. And why I'm doing that is because Miami's playing their best ball. Whether like we compare Miami and Notre Dame just because I hate Notre Dame and you like to make a point. And I think they're a lot closer than what the media is portraying it. And especially with ESPN seeing how they barely beat Virginia Tech after being up 2 scores the entire game. And their own win percentage was at like no less than like 95.6 the entire time. I don't know how that's barely beating somebody or surviving. But Pitt used the Notre Dame game to prep for Georgia Tech. Did they also prep for Miami? That's my biggest concern. Seeing them going up 28-0 leads me to believe that they locked in on Georgia Tech, because if you lose to Georgia Tech, it doesn't matter what happens in the Miami game. You have to win one to get to the next. So with that, I think they're only going on a week of preparation. And Miami, since that ref got suspended for bleeping the Canes to 2 losses, has played some of the best football in the country. They, in the last 5 games, the point differential is plus 108. That is belt to ass. And fun fact, we like to point out that Notre Dame is 5 points away from being 11 and up. Well, Miami is 4 points away from being 11 and up.
Notre Dame was 4. Lost by 3 and lost by 1.
Well, Miami is also 4 points away from being 11 and 0. And with that, Carson Beck just played one of those best games. I think they keep the ball rolling. Malachi Toney is a stud. Please pay him more in NIL. Do not let him leave. Don't be USC. Just pay him. He deserves it. And I think the Pitt Magic runs out in their home. That's not really their home, because that's the Steelers' home, and it's so far from campus. And I think Miami goes in and wins.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet. I'm keeping it broad. Everyone will find out in my pick'ems. So you must follow the Green Dog Podcast to know my picks.
Picks will be released on Friday.
They will be.
Different than we usually. We usually drop it on Saturdays, but we wanted to add the Friday games in this slate. And a special surprise on the pick'ems. When you see it, you will see the surprise.
You will. So you got to be following to see it. We've been on so long, I got to charge my laptop now. So
Mine's been on the charger. Last game, and then we'll go to Fortnite or bed.
I'm down for either.
Auburn, Alabama at Auburn. My notes are really simple. It's Alabama by 50. Auburn doesn't move me like that. Not going to overthink this.
Yes, same.
Like normally I'm like, oh, well they got that quarter. No, you got Deuce Robinson. You got Deuce Knight. I mean, Deuce Robinson is probably a better quarterback than Tommy Castellanos. But you have Deuce Knight, who's only seen Mercer. Mercer against the SEC is like Mercer. We were talking about Mercer earlier. Mercer's that team in the FCS. Studs. And the SEC, hot ass. Very different levels of this shit. Auburn has no quarterback. You have 3 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. You have a fucking mess. And they haven't looked good at all. They are 5-6, so the hidden motivation that we talked about of being bowl eligible as well as winning the Iron Bowl will be there. I like to think the fact that you're going to have all of your top recruits at this game. Extra motivation, but at the same time, if you're looking at Auburn, you're probably also looking at Alabama. So those are also Alabama's recruits there. So I don't know if I give that edge to a team or if I just add that in the factor. But I think Alabama played, especially Ty Simpson, played horrible against whoever the fuck they just played, Tennessee A&M, whoever it was, blue team, Eastern Illinois. Ty Simpson had 2 interceptions and looked like shit. If there's ever a game to play your absolute worst, that is the time, and I'm glad you spent that bye week fucking up and getting it out before this game. So I know Ty's going to come after a full week of practice, ready to play, and I think that's the difference in this, is that they're going to whoop some ass.
Love it. Well, on behalf of the Green Dog Podcast here, we thank you very much for listening. Have a happy and safe Thanksgiving from Hunter, Evan, Mikey, and myself, for those who take time and listen to us on the podcast, on YouTube, on TikTok, Instagram, you name it, the interactions, everything. We're very thankful for you. We're just guys who love college football, trying to make it big. And we appreciate everything. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And as always, like, comment, share, subscribe. We have been the Green Dog Podcast.